Hello and welcome to K News. This is Hardik Trivedi. Let's have a look on what is happening in India and in the world. The Israeli military said Palestinian militants in the Gaza Strip fired two rockets into southern Israel late Friday, shattering months of near total calm. In response, Israeli aircraft attacked two military facilities for Hamas, the Islamic group ruling Gaza. There were no reports of injuries in either incident, and no Palestinian militant group immediately claimed responsibility for the rocket attack. The rockets, which hit in open areas of Israel, were fired a day after Hamas warned of violence over Israeli plans to annex part of the occupied West Bank. The Israeli military said the airstrikes will impede Hamas' future abilities. Tensions are simmering in the Palestinian territories over the Israel's annexation plans for the West Bank, including the strategically important Jordan Valley. The annexation would effectively dash Palestinian hopes for establishing a viable state in the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. On Thursday, the armed wing of Hamas warned of violence if Israel proceeds with the annexation plans, saying such a move amounts to a declaration of war. For most of the first half of 2020, the Gaza-Israel frontier remained calm as Hamas stopped weekend demonstrations that often turned violent. The threat of coronavirus appears also to have contributed to the calm. On Sunday, about 1 lakh poor Gaza families will begin receiving 100 each as a donation from Qatar. The oil-rich Persian Gulf country has donated for nearly a year to help bolster calm and prevent Hamas and Israel from going to a war. Pakistan's anti-graft body has filed a corruption case against deposed Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and three others for their alleged involvement in the illegal allotment of land in Punjab about 34 years ago. An arrest warrant has been issued against 17-year-old three-time Premier who is in London for medical treatment. The National Accountability Bureau has approached an anti-corruption court to declare Sharif as a proclaimed offender since he did not respond to any of its summons. The three other accused named in the case filed by the NAB are Jung Geo Media Group owner Mir Shakilur Rahman, former Lahore Development Authority Director Human Faiz Rasool, and former Director Land Mian Bashir. In 1986, when he was the Punjab Chief Minister, Sharif had allegedly allotted 54 canal land in Lahore to Mir Shakilur Rahman in violation of rules. Rahman, who was arrested on March 12, is on judicial remand. In the reference, Sharif and the two officers were accused of the misuse of authority in allotting the precious land along the canal to Rahman in violation of the rules. Sharif had left for London in November after the Lahore High Court granted him a 4-week permission to go abroad for treatment. He had submitted an undertaking to the court to return to Pakistan, citing his record of facing the law and justice within 4 weeks or as soon as he declared healthy and fit to travel by the doctors. Last month, a fresh picture of ailing Sharif having tea at a London cafe along with his family went viral on social media, sparking a debate on his health, with the ruling Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf members demanding his return to face corruption cases. In the picture, he was seen sitting at a roadside cafe with his granddaughters. He sported a blue salwar kameez and a cap and apparently looked in better health. Sharif was given a bail in the Al Azizia Mills corruption case. in which he was serving a 7-year prison sentence in Kot Lakhpat jail. He was also given bail in a money laundering case to facilitate his travel abroad. State Bank of India has sanctioned loans to over 4 lakh accounts under Rs 3 lakh crore emergency credit line guarantee scheme for MSME sector hit hard by the coronavirus induced lockdown. On the occasion of International MSME Day, SBI Managing Director C.S. Shetty on Friday addressed MSME customers and employees across the nation via video conference. About Rs 20,000 crore has been sanctioned to eligible MSME customers under the scheme, which was launched on June 1st. The scheme will be applicable to all loans sanctioned under GECL facility during the period from the date of announcement of the plan to October 31, or till an amount of 3 lakh crore is sanctioned under the scheme, whichever is earlier. The main objective of the scheme is to provide an incentive to member leading institutions to increase access and enable availability of additional funding facility to MSME borrowers in view of the economic distress caused by the COVID-19 crisis, by giving them 100% guarantee for any losses suffered by them due to non-repayment of the GECL funding by borrowers. The statement further said Chief General Manager Delhi Circle Vijay Ranjan committed unhindered support to MSMEs by SBI in times to come. SBI Deputy Managing Director and Chief Operating Officer Saloni Narayan also participated in the video conference. The Bombay High Court observed that COVID-19 patients from poor and indigent sections cannot be expected to produce documentary proof to avail subsidized or free treatment while getting admitted to hospitals. The court on Friday was hearing a plea filed by 7 residents of a slum rehabilitation building in Bandra who had been charged Rs 12.5 lakh by KJ Somaya Hospital for COVID-19 treatment between April 11 and April 28. The bench of Justice Ramesh Dhanuka and Madhav Jamdar directed the hospital to deposit Rs 10 lakh in the court. The petitioners had borrowed money and managed to pay 10 lakhs out of 12.5 lakh that the hospital had demanded, after threatening to halt their discharge if they failed to clear the bill. Counsel Vivek Shukla informed the court. According to the plea, the petitioners were also overcharged for the PPE kits and unused services. On June 13, the court had directed the State Charity Commissioner to probe if the hospital had reserved 20% beds for poor and indigent patients and provided free or subsidized treatment to them. Last week, the Joint Charity Commissioner had informed the court that although the hospital had reserved such beds, it had treated only 3 poor or indigent persons since the lockdown. It was unfathomable that the hospital that claimed to serve 19 beds for the poor and indigent patients had treated only 3 such persons during the pandemic, Advocate Shukla said. He further argued that COVID-19 patients who are in distress cannot be expected to produce income certificate and such documents as proof. However, senior advocate Janak Dwarkadas, who represented the hospital, said the petitioners did not belong to economically weak or indigent categories and had not produced documents to prove the same. A person who is suffering from a disease like COVID-19 cannot be expected to produce certificates from a Tahsildar or social welfare officer before seeking admission in the hospital, The bench noted and asked the hospital to deposit rupees 10 lakh in the court within 2 weeks. The CBI has informed the Supreme Court that its probe into allegations of sexual and physical exploitation in 17 shelter homes in Bihar has been completed, except in 2 cases where further investigation is on, and they have recommended departmental action against erring public servants, including district magistrates in several matters. The CBI has said that evidence of gross negligence was found on part of public servants and NGOs running the shelter homes in several cases, and reports have been sent to Bihar government for taking departmental action against erring government officials, and also for cancellation of registration of NGOs and blacklisting them and their office bearers. In an application filed in the apex court, the CBI had said that further probe regarding Muzaffarpur shelter home and a short stay home at Motihari is going on, and final reports have been filed before the competent courts in 13 cases. The top court had in November 2018 asked the CBI to probe into the allegations of physical and sexual abuse in remaining 16 shelter homes in Bihar, which were flagged in a report of Tata Institute of Social Sciences. The issue had cropped up before the apex court, which has hearing the Muzaffarpur shelter home case, where several girls were sexually abused. Later, 19 people were convicted by a trial court in connection with the Muzaffarpur shelter home case. In its fresh application filed in the top court, the CBI has said that in pursuance to the November 2018 order, it had taken over probe of remaining 16 shelter home matters and lodged 12 regular cases and 4 preliminary inquiries spread over 10 different districts of Bihar, including Patna, Gaya and Bhagalpur. It said the CBI reports and notes have been forwarded to Chief Secretary of Bihar for taking action against erring public servants, including several district magistrates in these cases. The CBI has said that inquiries have been completed in these 17 shelter home cases, except the ongoing further probe in 2 matters. The top court, in its October 2018 order, had said the CBI's investigation team of the Muzaffarnagar shelter home should not be changed without its permission. In 2018, the apex court had said that reports of TISS, which was also given to the Bihar government, had raised grave concern about 17 shelter homes in the state, and the CBI must look into all of them. It's time for a short break. We'll join you in a short while.
Vesavi Avtundi fan with the cooler number 1. Eka Chesco mode fun unte cooler number 1. Eka don't run from the sun unte Kinsta number 1.
दीवाना 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 इतना सुंदर जैसे कोई सपना सुहाना दीवाना दीवाना
कचारिया टाइल्स, जो देखे वो दीवाना।
Welcome back to K News and thank you for watching. Let's continue the streak of news. The ED has objected to the Mumbai police filing a closure report in a cheating case registered earlier against now defunct Jet Airways, its promoter Ash Goel and his wife. stating that the police did not consider crucial facts of the case. The ED has filed an intervention application before a court. Jet Airways Goyal and his wife Anita were booked on charges of cheating and a criminal breach of trust in February this year by MRA Marg Police on a complaint filed by a city-based Akbar Travels India Private Limited, alleging that they were cheated of rupees 46 crore by the Goyals. In its closure report filed before a court a month later, the police stated that there was no evidence to probe the case further. In its application, the ED stated that the police had failed to consider the facts that were crucial in establishing the case against the Goyals. Meanwhile, the Akbar Travels has decided to challenge the closure report in the court. The report by the city police seemed to have been filed without any proper investigation. No investigation has been done on our allegation of personal assurances by the director of Jet Airways and also on foreign account details provided by the competent Akbar Travels counsel Dharmesh Joshi said on Saturday, adding that they will file a petition on July 6. As per the complaint filed by the police earlier, Jet Airways has done business worth rupees 900 crore with Akbar Travels between 2018 and 19. It alleged that the airline and its promoter have failed to pay rupees 46 crore to the travel company, despite knowing the financial crisis at Jet Airways, which was in position of no return. Naresh Goyal made false promises. He willfully induced the travel company to take booking on behalf of the airline, the complaint stated. The ED is conducting a probe against the Goyals and the defunct airline under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act and Foreign Exchange Management Act. Petrol price on Saturday was hiked by 25 paise per litre and diesel by 21 paise, taking the cumulative increase in rates in 3 weeks to rupees 9.12 and rupees 11.01 respectively. Petrol price in Delhi was hiked to rupees 80.38 per litre from rupees 80.13, while diesel rates were increased to rupees 80.40 a litre from rupees 80.19, according to a price notification of state oil marketing companies. Rates have been increased across the country, but the final retail selling price differs from state to state, depending on the incidence of local taxes or VAT. In Mumbai, petrol price went up from 86.91 per litre to rupees 87.14, while diesel rates was hiked by 78.71 from rupees 78.51. While diesel rates have been hiked for the 21st straight day, petrol price has been raised on 20 occasions in 3 weeks. The cumulative increase since the oil companies started the cycle on June 7 now total of rupees 9.12 for petrol and rupees 11.01 for diesel. On June 7, oil companies had restarted revising prices in line with costs after ending an 82-day hiatus during which they adjusted steep excise duty hikes by the government against the fall in benchmark international oil rates. Amidst a war of words between the Congress and the BJP over the face-off with China, NCP Chief Sharad Pawar on Saturday said matters of national security should not be politicized and add one cannot forget China had captured about 45,000 square kilometers of Indian land after the 1962 war. Mr. Pawar's comments came in response to a query about Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's charge that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had surrendered Indian territory to the Chinese aggression. The NCP chief also said the Galwan Valley incident in Ladakh cannot immediately be labelled as a failure of defence minister, as Indian soldiers were alert during patrolling. Speaking to reporters, the former union minister said the entire episode is sensitive in nature. It was China which played the provocateur in the Galwan Valley. 20 Indian soldiers were killed in the violent clash with their Chinese counterpart in eastern Ladakh on the night of June 15. The former defence minister further said India had been constructing a road in Galwan Valley within its limits, meant for communication purposes. What happened was they tried to encroach our land and were pushed physically. It was not somebody's failure. If somebody comes while you are patrolling, they may come at any time. We cannot say it is the failure of the defence minister sitting in Delhi, Mr. Pawar said. Patrolling was there was fight, which means you were alert. Had you not been, you would not have even realized when they came and went. Hence, I don't think it is right to make such allegations at this juncture. Responding to allegation raised by Rahul Gandhi, Mr. Pawar said one cannot forget that China captured around 45,000 square kilometers of India's land after the 1962 war between the two countries. That land is still with China. I don't know if they have encroached on some area now again. But when I make an allegation, I should also see what had happened when I was there. If such big land was encroached upon, then it cannot be ignored. It is a matter of national security and it should not be politicized, is what I feel, he said. Former Union Finance Minister Yashwant Sinha today alleged that the centre is resorting to profiteering by increasing fuel prices on a daily basis. On one hand, the centre announced rupees 20 lakh crore package to uplift the economy, while on the other, it robbed people who travelled by motorbikes, scooters and other vehicles. While diesel rates were hiked for the 21st straight day on Saturday, petrol prices have been increased on 20 occasions in 3 weeks. There are occasions when the petrol and diesel hike becomes imperative, but I can tell you on the basis of my experience that it is nothing but the sheer profiteering in the today's circumstances, Mr. Sinha said at a press conference in Patna. It is unfortunate and saddening to know that the government is resorting to profiteering. Mr. Sinha said it is well known that the crude oil price is soft in the international market. The price of petrol was hiked today by 25 paise per litre and diesel by 21 paise per litre, taking the cumulative increase in rates in 3 weeks to rupees 9.12 and rupees 11 respectively. On June 7, oil companies had restarted revising prices in line with costs after ending an 82-day hiatus during which they adjusted steep excise duty hikes by the government against the fall in benchmark international oil rates. Enforcement Directorate on Saturday interrogated senior Congress leader Ahmed Patel at his residence in Delhi in connection with Sandesra scam. Patel's name surfaced during the investigation against Sandesra group of companies in the alleged bank loan fraud case. ED's investigation reveals that Sterling Biotech, Sandesra Group and its main promoters, namely Nitin Sandesra, Chetan Sandesra and Dipti Sandesra, have cheated more than rupees 14,500 crores to Indian banks. Not only Ahmed Patel, his son Faisal Patel and his son-in-law Irfan Siddiqui have been named by a corporate executive being questioned by the ED. in connection to a money laundering case. Based on the evidence, ED officials has prepared a set of questionnaire and is interrogating Ahmed Patel about his connection with the Sandesra brothers. Earlier, ED had asked him to appear in the first week of this month for interrogation. Patel, however, had sent a letter to ED on June 8, mentioning coronavirus as a reason to evade questioning. A day before Patel was to appear before ED, Congress leader wrote to them citing pandemic as the reason, stating above 65, please excuse now. He told ED that as per COVID-19 guidelines, he needs to stay indoors. After his letter, ED has informed him that they will visit his home for the interrogation. The Delhi government on Saturday issued an advisory to contain the threat of desert locusts in the national capital after swarms entered neighboring Gurugram in the morning and the small swarm entered Delhi's south and west districts. All district magistrates have been advised to remain on high alert and to cooperate with the district fire department personnel for spraying prescribed pesticides and insecticides. A small swarm of locusts had entered the Delhi border. South and west districts have been put on high alert. We have also issued advisory to all district authorities to contain the spread of locusts. District magistrates have been asked to deploy adequate staff to guide villagers and residents to distract the locusts by making loud noise, by beating drums, utensils, bursting crackers, burning neem leaves and other similar measures. On May 27, the Delhi government had issued a similar locust advisory. The government also advised people to keep doors and windows closed and cover outdoor plants with plastic sheets. Swarms usually fly during daytime and rest during night, therefore should not be allowed to rest during night time, the advisory said. On Saturday, the swarms of locusts spread across 2 kilometers, moved from west to east as they entered Gurugram around 11:30 am. KL Gurjar of the Locust Warning Organization, the Ministry of Agriculture told. Gurjar said the swarms were headed towards Faridabad and Palwal in Haryana. The short-horned grasshoppers are known to devour everything in their path, posing an unprecedented threat to food supply and livelihoods of millions of people. Over the past few months, locust swarms, which first attacked Rajasthan, have now spread across many other states, including Punjab, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Haryana. In favorable wind conditions, locust swarms can travel 150 kilometers a day. That's all for now. Keep watching K News. This is Hardik Trivedi taking your leave. Be alert, be positive, be safe.